There we go. Now we back. We back, boys. Just want to add the stream marker button again, just in case. Because I think keeping these somewhat short for the YouTube side of things is better than having 4 to 5 hour long things. Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Is it Coteries or is it? Again, I said this earlier, and I still don't know the answer. Coteries, Coteries, the Coteries of New York. We're gonna rest after just getting ourselves a new apartment and see how things go from there. Hunger lies at the heart of a vampire's existence. To ignore it is to tempt the beast to take over your actions in its desire to feed. To overindulge in feeding may threaten the masquerade, as well as staining what humanity you have left. In this word of New York, having high hunger is indicated by a progressively bigger, bloody frame around the screen, like one you see now. Oh yes, look at all the blood. It's very, very nice. Oh man, look at all of this blood. Oh fuck, that's ooh. Don't you want to? Ah, the blood is gone now. It's not. It's still there. But as your hunger grows, so does this indicator. Your hunger may increase when you call upon your vampiric powers, or when you need to mend your wounds after a fight. We have fights? What? When your hunger reaches the maximum amount, you will receive a warning after you complete a piece of the story. Ignore it at your own peril. Some choices may only become visible when your hunger is high enough. Similarly, a high hunger may block off some choices, as you will be able to see after pressing continue. Blocked off option, continue. Ah, I want to do that one. Fuck. To decrease hunger, you will need to feed. Whenever you see a feeding opportunity, you can take the risk to hunt and slake your hunger. Feeding opportunity. You will need to keep the hunger at bay if you are to uphold the masquerade and survive the nights that await you. You open your eyes. You open your eyes. The bed isn't warm. The room is filled with artificial light from the ceiling. The solid metal door is closed. Normally, you'd stretch for a bit. On some mornings, you'd probably throw the quilt over yourself and snooze a moment longer. But that was before. The way you woke up now, you were fully conscious. No grogginess, nothing weighing you down. Just the nagging need at the back of your head. Hunger, not as severe as the last time, but unmistakably there. You get up and open the door to the main room. A digital clock on the TV shows you the time, 9:04 p.m. You walk over to the blinds and retract them cautiously. The only light coming in is the New York City's artificial nighttime luminescence. So that's what your waking hours are going to look like now. You miss the sunlight already. You're seriously considering just walking out of the apartment and figuring this all out yourself. But then you come back to the memory of Kadir's exotic sword being raised in the gallery. Maybe sticking around isn't that bad of an idea after all. You keep jumping channels for about half an hour and then switch to a streaming services. Almost as if the universe had a sense of irony. You can watch True Blood in the flood of recommendations. Hell yeah, fuck, it's like fucking want some True Blood, guys. The doorbell rings. Is it the chicken nuggies? We'll find out. So I have a question. I actually don't know a lot about World of Darkness, as far as like, you know, things like Vampire the Masquerade and whatever. I did play through some of Bloodlines. I never actually beat bloodlines, and I'm looking forward to the next game. Can they eat other food? Like, can they have chicken nuggies? Does anybody know? Like, or do they have to drink blood? Does anybody know? I'll just leave that question up for a bit. It's Sophie. Good evening, Velvet. Slept well? Like a baby. Like a dead man. I'm gonna say like a baby. Like a baby. What a delightful choice of words. So appropriate. A newborn kindred, lost and confused in the night. You made the right choice yesterday. I can teach you many things about yourself. Your blood, its desires, and its power. We will begin tonight. You are hungry, yes, I'm sure you are. Our kind always is. There is only one remedy. The blood. The drink we had yesterday at Asylum are not the usual way you slake your thirst. Your thirst. Sorry, I just keep looking at this lady and I'm thinking weird things. I'm kidding. So tonight I will assist you in your first foray into hunting. You need to learn to sense the kind of blood you desire, to understand how you can use the kind's vulnerabilities to your advantage. I'm ready to learn. Well, I'm ready to learn. Let's get started. Such eagerness, or is it the hunger making you impatient? You will find that drinking moderate amounts of it regularly will keep the hunger and the whispers of the beast away. You might think yourself monstrous, but there is a balance to be found there. The kiss gives kind pleasure. You might remember this from your own embrace. Some can even become addicted to the sensation, but if you do it right, they tend to misremember your feeding. After all, vampires do not exist. They are myths, fairy tales, and pop culture mainstays, correct? She gives you a sly, knowing smile. That is why the masquerade is so important, and even more crucial when you feed. How to avoid being seen? How do you cover your tracks? How do you select a victim? How do you cover your tracks? Biting people leaves marks, right? And the victims remember your face. You shouldn't concern yourself with leaving marks. These are easy to conceal. You just need to bite carefully, and then lick the punctures closed. That's all there is to it. As for being remembered, like I mentioned, the kiss is an ecstatic experience, so kind can barely recall the details. And when they do, the city is enormous. You could spend days on the streets and not see the same face twice. Use that to your advantage. Feeding from the same area repeatedly can be dangerous, but by branching out, you risk the ire of other kindred on whose domains you trespass. Lucky for you, New York City is more forgiving in this regard. New York is in somewhat a unique position. Many of its neighborhoods remain contested or unclaimed. The reason for this is a lesson for another time, but keep the following in mind. Take opportunities to feed when they present themselves. Take these upcoming nights. As long as you hunt cautiously and respect the masquerade at all times, you should be fine. To wit, I want you to join me for a trip tonight. Come downstairs. Gregory is waiting for us. From the Dark Forces Wiki. You have the capacity to eat food and even savor its taste. You cannot derive any nourishment from eating regular foods, of course. Of course, you can't digest what you eat. So wait. If you can't digest it, what happens? What? What happens? Throw it up? Ugh. That is very... Ugh. I don't know. It'll just go out. Where? Like, do you poop out a full piece of cake? Like, what? you just go poop out a full piece of cake? Just right there, just like triangle of cake, just coming out. At least you can still taste. So I'm guessing that they would probably just not swallow food often. It decomposes in your stomach, maybe, but like you'd think that that'd be problematic. Because I do know that you have some sort of... I know that vampires in this world have some sort of systems still in place for, like, toxins and whatnot. Because I do know that, like, poisons and things like that do still exist, even though most of them don't affect the undead. Some of them do. I know that they still have something that circulates blood through them as well. Even if they don't breathe and their heart doesn't beat. Like, there are still some things that happen to you. So, like, is the decomposing like stomach acid decomposing abilities, or like, because like there's a difference between taking in nutrients and there's a difference between taking in nutrients and not taking in nutrients. You know, I feel like there's still something in place to dissolve the food. Because if there wasn't, then there would be no way you could eat food. Not to mention, again, like, even if you think about blood, a lot of things in blood isn't actually purely blood. So I'm guessing that whatever's left of that has to leave at some point as well. Because if you really think about it, no matter what, you're still drinking something. So anybody who says vampires don't pee is a liar. I'm pretty sure that they have to have some way of getting rid of the blood, even if they get rid of it a lot less. Because I do know that it takes blood to use certain powers and things as well, which would definitely be more of a like, kind of like, more of like, you know, a way to get rid of energy. It'd be fascinating to actually think about this for like some sort of thing. If I were to ever actually put like a game where I'd have vampires and things about, I think I would have to think about it really hard, because there's got to be definitely there's got to be something there, you know, because like, if you want to be like a high functioning aristocrat, and you're like, oh yes, of course, I'll have this small amount of wine. Oh, it's so good. You know, because you wouldn't want to swallow it if you couldn't get rid of it. So yeah, I'd say that there's something. I'd have to go and look it up myself, but that's interesting that you they say you can't digest. I have a feeling that you just can't digest it. That there is a way to dissolve it. There has to be, right? We'll think of it later. The busy streets fill the air with traffic noise, pedestrian chatter, and a mix of smells that disorient you momentarily. These warm bodies contain what you want, what you need. You catch yourself. Did you really just think of these people as mere sources of blood? Yes, you did, because that's how you're supposed to think of them now. Don't listen, Velvet. You are a strong vampire lady, and you can think of people as blood if you want to. It takes a nudge from Sophie to break your train of thought. Her driver opens the door for her, and then tips his hat to you, gesturing to the back of the car. The car casually joins the somewhat thin New York traffic. It's still busy in a way only one of the biggest cities in the world can be, but compared to the daytime commune, it's a pleasant drive. You barely have the time to gather your thoughts and formulate new questions before the car comes to a stop. You're among the tall skyscrapers that make up Manhattan's iconic skyline. Come, Velvet, park the car, Gregory, will you? The driver just nods and Sophie gets out. You join her and the two of you walk through the glass doors together, then take the elevator up. You first notice an empty stage with instruments of a string quartet still in the back, then take a few dozen chairs in front of it. The concert seemingly concluded, the patrons all smartly dressed and posh. You spread out all over the hall. Sophie strides confidently inside, produces an invitation from her purse that she flashes in front of the security guard. You follow close, and you are let through without issue. Let's start easy. A social setting like this one would usually prove quite challenging to an inexperienced kindred, but consider this evening a small gift from your patron. I'm hoping to procure you a willing vessel. Just remember what I told you about taking small sips. This one I have a soft spot for. Don't damage her. Now let's see here. There he is. She notices somebody in the crowd flashing a heart-melting smile, and suddenly even you feel drawn to her. You haven't thought about it before, but it's laid clear before you in this moment. Sophie is beautiful. Just looking at her is a privilege. Just being with her makes you feel elated. Everybody in the crowd, but especially the man who's almost tripping himself to reach her, clearly agrees. Edgar, I'm so happy to see you. How's your daughter? Is she with you? Oh, there she is. Julie, my girl, come over, please. There's somebody I'd like you to meet. The young woman who walks across the hall can't be more than 19 years old. It's clear from her mismatched earrings and partially faded purple hair dye that she doesn't fit this crowd. Julie, this is Velvet. I think the two of you should get acquainted while I talk business with your dad. Awfully boring stuff, I assure you. I'm positive you'll like each other. The girl gives you a small shy smile and nods toward the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure what it is exactly Sophie expects you to do. You reach the secluded place, which the entire lobby is visible. All eyes are on Sophie. They listen intently. They laugh when she does, and Julie saves you the trouble of figuring out the next step. If you're Sophie, then I guess you're, I mean, that you know. She puts her wrist to her lips and gives a small theatrical nip. She looks at you, embarrassed, but also hopeful. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, you don't? She's clearly befuddled and unsure of how to continue. She backs out of the topic, and instead asks you about your favorite bands. You have the feeling she's waiting for you to do something. As you talk, she takes off her jacket, although the building isn't warm, unbuttons her sleeve and rolls it up. You see a tattoo of a cat in an astronaut suit, one feline eye winking at you. It's subtle, or at least she thinks it is, but the way she caresses her forearm is a dead giveaway. She's testing you. Can it be she wants to be bitten? Fuck it! You take her forearm in your hands. A quick look around confirms nobody's watching, and no security cameras cover this area. You bite down, gently. It's surreal. She's just given you her blood with her own volition. How is that possible? What about the masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. You tear away from her. A brief convulsion shakes you. Her smell. It's her smell. It's not right. The temporary feeling of bliss the girl felt when you bit her is gone in an instant. She's disappointed, annoyed even. She looks at you, unsure of what's the matter. Come back, please. Just have some more. Just a bit more. The very thought makes you want to throw up what little of her blood you've tasted. You shake your head. The girl sniffs, starts crying, wipes her face into her jacket sleeve, and walks down the stairs into the hall. The crowd around Sophie disperses slowly. Looking at her now, only some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? You walk over to her. Edgar, dear, it was splendid talking to you, but we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with, Velvet. Gregory is waiting for you out front. The only car that Sophie addresses you. So, how did it go? Oof. I tried, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand the smell or the taste. Curious. I consider Julie's blood to have one of the most exquisite and unique bouquets in this city. And trust me, I have refined taste. She almost sounds like she's offended. Oh well, if at first you don't succeed, perhaps you need a change of pace. Time for the next stop. Training wheels off. This time, Gregory, Flushing Meadows, please. The driver takes the car to Williamsburg Bridge. You settle your thoughts. What's that about training wheels? Julie was a proving ground for you to try your hand at controlled beating. Now it's time for a real hunt, and that will require you to put in extra effort. We all have our talents. Some of them. Hold up. I'm turning the game down real quick. Hold on. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep, buddy. Damn it. Oh, man. I tried to get you guys to listen to Buddy. He was snoring. Oh, well. He was laying on my arms snoring, and I couldn't get the microphone down to him. Oh, well. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherit from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people or make them fear me. I see more of the world and in greater detail than some kindred. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision and grace, and more. All these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt. What are my powers? Time will tell. You will need to discover them yourself. When we arrive, experiment. Give different things a try. Follow your instinct and intuition. It will guide the blood. Always keep the masquerade in mind, however. It is all fine if you can disappear in plain sight or command animals with your mind, but save those overt talents for the right place and time. It only takes you an hour and half an hour to reach the park at this time of night. Both you and Sophie leave the car, with Gregory left behind again to find a parking spot, and to keep an eye on the car. Sophie seems deep in thought. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight. The stars just barely visible in the light-polluted area of the city, or aura of the city. I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be by the fountain. Go look for somebody to be to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood. But pick only one victim. Just one. Then come back. Seeing how she seems not altogether right now, you decide to leave Sophie to her own devices and seek out your prey. From there, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park, finding an isolated jogger or someone like them could work, but focusing on one area might work better. The New York State Pavilion might work as a secluded spot, but there's a skate park nearby, and worst case scenario, there's bound to be someone unfortunate wino around. Or maybe the tennis court's nearby, the light coming from there, so somebody might be playing playing a late night match. They won't be alone, but they may be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play in your mind, you realize you're planning on how to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but the now familiar hunger prompts you to act. Oh, fuck. We can do a jogger. State Pavilion. Skate park. Tennis courts. I want to go to the tennis courts. I think that'd be a pretty cool place to find people. You decide the tennis courts are a good place as any, and make your way to the bright glow of the lamps illuminating the area. As you guess, a pair of players, 2 men, fit but older, maybe pushing 60, are finishing up a match. They're the only ones there. It's time to make a move. Ooh, I have presents. You think back to what Sophie did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention on the entire gathering on her. That might be a tall order from you, but a single person could be doable. You wait patiently until the 2 men hit the showers, get out and say their goodbyes. They go their separate ways, and one of them notices you standing there. You immediately grab his attention. Good evening. Oh yes, very good. You? I'm having a blast. You? Won both sets. Not bad for a grandpa. He's clearly very happy with himself. You decide there won't be a better moment to strike, moving closer, casually at first, then closing the distance in a single leap. You sink your fang. Holy fuck. It only takes a sip to realize your mistake. The taste of mud and bile. Blech. Fills your throat for the second time tonight. You push the man away. He stumbles and falls to the ground. You can barely believe your luck. The hunger in you unsated, you leave the courts in a foul mood. As you're about to walk back to Sophie, a figure emerges from the shadows and stops you in your tracks. A hooded man is looking menacingly at you. What do you think you're doing? Barging in on my turf like this, lick? Didn't mean to trespass. I'm gone. Too late for that, friendo. You want to leave here in one piece, you talk. Candidly. I know what you are. So you can shove that masquerade in this direction up your ass. Now you better tell me who you're with before my posse shows up and we beat it out of you. Big talk coming from a chump. Want to prove me wrong? He tenses up, gives you an extremely nasty look, and bares his fangs. You don't want to push your luck, dumb fuck. My crew is in earshot. One shout away and you're D-O-N-E. Done. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to dance, let's dance. Once I'm through, I'ma hand you over to Callahan, and you're gonna be sorry I didn't finish you off instead. Hey, yo, fuck you, though. Enough's enough. You won't be intimidated by this asshole. Leave. Now. His countenance changes. A cruel beast one moment, a humbled pup the next. He walks away, just like that. How did you do it? I did it! I dominate people! Not wishing to tempt fate any further, you return to the Unisphere, looking back over your shoulder to make sure you're not being followed. 2 figures are visible near the sculpture. A man and a woman, tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie, feeding. But this whole scene is set up so that it looks like a couple getting intimate in public. She pulls it off like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet, and she lets go of him and leads him toward a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and leaves him. Her driver appears from behind a tree. Well, Velvet, how did it go? You're about to answer when the same figure as before emerges from one of the alleys. He looks at the 3 of you, and a predatory smile creeps to his lips. You're screwed, dumb fuck. You think you can mess with my head and get away with it? Think you'll be safe with your friends? Well, I have friends too. He makes a motion to shout, but 2 things happen almost at the same time. First, that feeling of warmth and beauty emanating from Sophie flares up again, enticing both you and the hooded thug. His shout comes out as a weak, confused squeak. Second, Gregory produces a wooden stake from a holster under his jacket and slams it in. Fucking Gregory! Holy shit, Gregory! Just like that, in a few seconds, the posturing vampire is down, on the ground, paralyzed. I see you've made a friend, Velvet. Curious choice of company, I would say. Who is he? He said something about presenting me to somebody named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second, then recovers her regular countenance. Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anarch, then. Curious. Corona Park has not been claimed by any kindred, last I checked. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Kadir tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this unbound's acquaintance. Gregory carries the stalked vampire and dumps him into the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight. You're quite happy you're not that poor fucker's shoes right now. Holy shit, Gregory. Fucking Gregory, though! It's almost surprising that you can get away with just casually throwing a stiff into your car and driving away. But then you remember that Sophie has been doing this for far longer than you have. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded by a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing has about as many caveats as it has perks. You've taken out your headspace by Sophie's voice. I will pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium, my bad, and I expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Kadir and the prince. I'm sure he'll have some interesting things to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. What's going to happen to him? The usual, I imagine. Interrogation by a Kadir, probably in the basement of the gallery. A quick trial, with the prince in attendance, if she's there tomorrow night. A swift execution as the verdict. This all sounds eerily familiar to you, and you can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits this guy tomorrow night. You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting a hang of it, I would hope. My picky tastes flared up again. I couldn't make myself drink from that man, even though I did bite him. That is unfortunate. I'm afraid I don't have a ready-made solution for this. You'll need to trust your instincts. The sooner you learn what it is you're looking for in a vessel, the better. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift to the car, and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We'll pick up tomorrow evening, then. Good night. Just like that, without any further curtsy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by motherfucking Gregory! With a body in the trunk, right in the middle of Manhattan. You cross paths with situations like these in the past, unknowingly. What other secrets did you pass on the streets without knowing their true nature? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Gah. Yum, yum, yum. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it'll take some time to process. You're not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelves in the apartment are either in languages you don't speak or like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door, a moment of hesitation, but then a decision. This time you turn the light off. You think back to Julie. How many people in the city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park. If he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night when you can start crossing them off the list instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into the familiar void of nothingness. It greets you with open arms like an old friend. Nothingness, 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 nothingness. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here. The blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right. The light. You grasp for the switch, flip it. A familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you. Comfortably seated at the sofa in your living room space, a book in her hand. The Melancholy of Resistance. The title's sure on brand. Good evening, Velvet. Sorry to have kept you waiting. To be fair, I haven't been here long. I was enjoying reminiscing about the time when I called this my haven. The decor was much different, of course. Come, we have an appointment. I received word that Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get into the car. Motherfucking Gregory! Gives you a slight nod and a slight smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primo-Donna Council is bound to be there, at least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you do well to at least learn about. How shall I carry myself when I'm inside? You never told me if there were any savoir-faire like rules I should respect when talking to other vampires. Knowing that you're among your superiors is probably the most important. In our society, status comes with age. Pardon my sincerity, but you are insignificant. Not even associating with me can make the fact that you're been kindred for barely a few nights be forgotten. So know your place. Stay out of your superior's business and show the utmost respect. Thanking the prince for sparing you and maybe having a friendly chat with Kadir publicly might show your gratefulness for being part of the Camarilla now. I would suggest you make it sincere. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember that what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There she is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting and teaching you, but it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. You step into the art hall with something of a bad memory. The last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down, and your existence nearly ended. But tonight, there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Kadir gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie. Velvet. Did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there is somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight. Yes, Prince. They will be joining us shortly. My assistant is retrieving them presently. This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Kadir a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Velvet's begetter eluding his grasp, I believe. Ouch. Must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes you grit your teeth in anger. Asshole. Settling you with a curse that cut you off from your career. Cheated you out of your ambitions, offering little in return so far. You remind yourself that defeatism will get you nowhere. Mindfulness, the here and now, this is an opportunity. You will make the most of it, if only to spite everyone who doubts your true worth. The flaring up of whispers in the gallery, a howl breaks you out of your thoughts. Motherfucking Gregory! Enters the room. The jumpsuit-clad, inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show's about to start. Sophie's driver places the charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Kadir. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stakes from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life as he starts looking around in disbelief, like a cornered animal. He backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Kadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor.
Why, who do we have here?
Oh, fuck! Oh, shit! No, come on, don't!
Silence.
The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he is a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some other guests here tonight. It's unlike anything you've experienced in the company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. It seems like it takes all the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying. No, please, don't hurt me, man, don't!
You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs. At the prince's discretion.
Please, go ahead, my sheriff.
You heard the prince. Get up. Let's go.
He doesn't wait for a confirmation. He just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming out of the room. Conversations start all around you, some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing in particular to her liking. That guy's shifty and desperate. There might be more to him than meets the eye. Will Kadir manage to deal with him alone? What a ridiculous notion! Of course he will. What is one cornered rat for an old, experienced predator? Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and goes to a corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gathered. A concierge offers you a drink. Still warm. It smells nice. Just a sip to start you off, a splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here a few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. Their conversation seems to be casual. A loud, shrill laugh turns your attention to a bespectacled man you saw with Sophie on night of your judgment. He's making the rounds, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near the column, watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly as he realizes you've noticed. Ah, fuck. Okay, so Sophie told us to talk to the prince. I don't give a fuck about the man in the glasses, but then there's a guy looking at me. What do we do, boys? What happens here? I'm gonna take a drink. Ah! The last bits of this drink is not very good. Everything coagulates at the bottom. Whew. Stretch. Ah! Eggy says Prince. Prince going once. Prince going twice. Man, says Cedric Morris. Next choice. Prince? Alright, we're going to the prince. You approach the prince, trying to stay as respectful of her private conversation as possible. She glances at you as if to step forward. Or as you step forward. Her scrutinizing gaze mimicked by her companion. She addresses the dark-skinned woman before turning to you. Excuse me for a moment, Samara. Yes, Velvet? What is it? I wanted to give you my thanks. I wish to thank you for sparing me, Prince. I realize it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I wanted to express my sincere appreciation. How thoughtful of you. She takes a long look at you before she continues. I didn't do it from the kindness of my unbeating heart. You are an asset to Miss Langley, to the Camarilla, and to me. I believe I made the right decision. Prove to me and the other kindred of the city that it was so, and there might be more to your future nights than just survival and servitude. The dark-stimped woman looks impatiently at you and catches the prince's attention. Forgive me, that's all the time I can spare right now. We have some things to discuss with Samira still. Enjoy your night, Velvet. I think she wants to have the last word, so we're just going to bow and leave. You notice Sophie mingling with the other kindred, clearly in her element to not be disturbed. Kadir hasn't come back yet, so you probably find some time for at least one more conversation. We can do both! Confront the man looking at us! We did it, Morris. We did it, Cedric. We got this. We can talk to the people. There's something about this guy. It's not that he's staring at you. Most everybody in this room has at one point or another. It's how he does it. He seems shy, maybe even afraid. It's hard to find a secluded spot in the gallery tonight, but this guy has an entire corner of the room all to himself. He's standing alone, no glass in hand, just a look of worry as you approach. Good evening, Mr.
Larson. You can call me Robert. Either is fine.
Why are you standing alone like this? Why are you standing around by yourself like this?
I'm not hugely liked around these parts. I'm surprised you wanted to talk to me. Then again, you're new. You probably don't know. I'm one of Prince Panhard's Primogen. I'm here on business in case the prince requires my insight, usually so she can hear me out before she ignores me. Not sure if you were paying attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned diverging opinions on on whether you should be executed or not, that was me. I was the diverging opinion.
What was your reasoning? Not that I'm ungrateful, but out of curiosity, what was your reasoning?
My reasoning? Just common sense. That you shouldn't be blamed for being assaulted and essentially murdered, to boot. But, as Kadir loves to say, the traditions are clear. Listen, I don't want to be rude, and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice, stay away from me. Many vampires in this sect regard my position as Primogen to be kind of a joke, you know? You talk to me, they'll notice, and they'll hold it against you.
You have a quick look behind you and see that a few of the kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman, especially, a redhead boasting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly.
Some of them already do, I imagine. Excuse me. I need to try to get a word in with a few Primogen members before Kadir returns. Enjoy your night.
With just the critical looks of a few kindred to keep you company, you start thinking about who to pursue next. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everybody's attention. Kadir is back, and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. The vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. That stupid hat is still inexplicably on his head, covering some of his ruined face in a welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His shin is broken, you think. Something protruding there, making a bulge in the pant leg. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, Kadir, did our guest cooperate?
Tell the prince your name.
It's Howard. It's Howard.
And who do you run with, Howard?
The Midnighters.
An anarch coterie. Coterie? My prince. Active for some time now.
Hey, that's the thing! That's the thing that we are playing! The Coteries of New York!
Though from what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group kept over the years.
I see.
Hey, Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't know. I didn't...
A loud crack has one of the guests audibly gasp as Kadir's slap dislocates the man's jaw. A splatter of blood creates something like an abstract art piece on the floor. An involuntary reaction, your eyes look on the red drops and you feel a pang of hunger. Even though you've had some blood tonight, it seems like it's still not enough to fully control your instincts.
This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That would be enough to pass swift judgment, but he is also an anarch scum. My prince?
There can only be one verdict. Final death. Do your duty, Sheriff. Unless, of course, somebody would like to play at being a good Samaritan like our dear Miss Langley a few nights ago. The look the prince serves you and Sophie is a cruel jest. Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm into yours in a strange public show of affection. Ah, yay! We got to be, we look at us, two cuties. Nobody says anything. The vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. Ooh. I can do a thing. Guys, I can do a thing. Should I do a thing? Should I do a thing? What do you guys think? Should I show people that I can do this thing, or should I keep it to myself? Cedric says do it. Why not? Alright, let's go. The moment you catch Howard's eye, ordering him comes almost as an instinct to you. Stop! He stops, looks at you with one eye, the other swollen closed by Kadir's interrogation. A swift slash separates his head from his shoulders. The body slumps to the ground and starts decomposing in front of your eyes. The sheriff, sword in hand, gives you a nasty smile from behind where Howard used to stand. Yay! He approves! Well, Velvet, your eagerness is laudable, if unnecessary. That Howard fellow couldn't have hoped to escape his fate, not with Kadir's expertise. However, I have made note of this show of loyalty on both you and your patrons' accounts. I would like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this anarch thug to mine and Kadir's attention. I assume all has found the verdict satisfactory. It's a rhetorical question and everybody here knows it. Then I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to all of you. She steps out of the room, and you see many of the guests motion to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. You probably have the time to strike up a conversation of your own, too. Kadir Al-Asmai is still here. I didn't know we knew his last name, but clearly getting ready to leave for once. Larson is still moping around, and the other man you noticed before Kadir's brought an anarch here, is still chatting with the remaining attendants. I want to talk to Kadir! The sheriff's mood seemed to have improved, so you decide there won't be a better shot at saying your piece. He is just sheathing a sword when you approach him. He notices you just before his face turns from a melancholic frown into his regular predatory smirk. You seem to have caught him at a moment of reflection.
What is it, Velvet?
I wanted to thank you for bringing me here. In one piece, for giving me a chance. An emotion creeps into Kadir's face that you haven't seen in the sheriff exhibit yet. Is that gratitude? It's fleeting, only there for a moment, gone in the blink of an eye.
It was trying on my nerves, and you were still far and away from proving that it is the right thing to do. So don't think that a few kind words will let you off the hook. Still, I have to admit, I was as surprised as the prince when you jumped on the occasion to stop that anarch from escaping. I was sure Valerie would have beat you to it. Valerie? Valerie? Who the fuck is... Alrighty. If there's nothing else, I will be taking my leave.
Do you enjoy being sheriff? Being the sheriff to Prince Penhard?
Enjoyment has nothing to do with this. It's my duty. When Calabros asked me to fill the shoes for the sheriff and root out our enemies, I was glad to serve the sect. When Helene became prince and asked me to keep doing this, I agreed, because I believe in the Camarilla and I respect the fact that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
He picks up his sword and returns to the stairs.
If more kindred understood that, my job would have been much duller, though. On that note, I wish you a good night. And watch yourself. You've messed up my batting average. So I'll be sure to keep a close eye on you.
With that final threat, he leaves the gallery. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Come, Gregory, motherfucking Gregory, is waiting downstairs. She seems preoccupied with something and not in a talkative mood. It's an awkward ride back to the city. This time you arrive at another building, just 2 streets apart from your apartment. She brings you upstairs, though, a very nice lobby, a luxurious-looking hall, into her domain. Please have a seat. I shall be right with you. You take in the surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery, an old-school smoking room that you've seen in some period piece once. A Nouveau and a Nouveau niche's living room, meticulously put together. Apologies, old habits die hard. Clearly, some stick with you even after your death. She drags on the cigarette, breathes out. Breathes? How is she doing that? Can you do that? Ah, yes, you might not know. It takes some practice, but you can keep smoking if you like. Other things too. Experiment. You might surprise yourself. But I did not bring you here to show off. This is where I rest these nights. That door in the back, the bedroom, similar to yours. I have servants and bodyguards in addition, of course. I brought you here because I need you to trust me. When I told you before that I needed your best behavior to uphold my good standing with the court, I meant it. But that's not the whole story. I have your interest in mind too. That's why I've given you your own haven. Why I'm trying to teach you how to navigate this new reality. But you need to trust me, or else this won't work out. You can come here whenever you feel like, asking me something. When you're in trouble too, I hope that won't happen, though I hope that won't happen often. I would ask you come here when you wake up tomorrow. I'll have something to discuss with you. I'll be here. First thing tomorrow night. I appreciate that. The silence again. There's definitely something on Sophie's mind tonight. She doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me. We'll give you a lift. Quick trip. Some polite goodbyes and a promise that you'll show up tomorrow later. You open the door to your haven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting in a way, being dragged deeper and deeper into the secret society and its rules. Whatever Sophie has planned for you, it's bound to teach you more about the thing you've become. You sink into your vampiric sleep with just a sliver of hope. It's a welcome change. Drifting, drifting, falling, 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 falling. Erupt, awake! Once more the darkness falls upon the city. You wake up same as you have these past few nights, in a windowless room as you pry open the reinforced steel door. You look out your window to see, invariably, a sky bereft of sunlight, and then it hits you. The hunger. For a moment you let yourself wonder if there will ever come a night when that's not there. Given what you've learned thus far, you probably have as much chance of kick-starting your heart with the jumper cables. You lock the apartment behind you and head over to Sophie's apartment. You did promise to call on her. Might as well not keep the lady waiting. And hey, what else are you gonna do? Before we do that, I'm gonna make myself another drink. Those of you that don't know, actually, I think I haven't said this out loud. I grabbed a Black Friday sale for for G Fuel. There was a Black Friday sale going on, and I was able to get 2 things of G Fuel for a little bit over $20. And I've been testing it. It's pretty good. It's pretty okay. You didn't know that Gregory was Winchester in disguise? Hey, man. Plenty of people can be motherfucking, you know what I mean? Not in that way, but you know. There we go. Just making me another drink real quick. It's blood. Sorry, it took me a minute. Like, I shouldn't lie to you guys. It's blood. Powdered blood. Just add plasma / water. I should put up my Vampire the Masquerade picture that Phantom made for me. Just because. Let's do it. Image. Add source. New source. Add source. Browse. Where it at? Just in case people have forgotten about it, because I do love it. It is probably one of my favorite. Images people have made for me. Look at that boy. Throw him right there. You didn't get the blood straight from the source? I'm disappointed. Listen, dude. Listen, dude. I am fucking like, I am a neat. I am a shut-in. I don't go out and do things with people. Obviously, I need to get some powdered blood. What are you talking about? Real people confuse me. That's why I have to force my relationships by grabbing random people and throwing them in my summoning orb. Pretty good. Let's throw it down here. If it gets in the way of anything, we'll get rid of it. Actually, hold on. Can I like flip? Aha! There we go. Perfect. We'll put it there. We'll put it there whenever I'm playing vampire. It's really good when it's cold. Like, it's really good when it's freshly cold. Now it's just like I'm talking. Look at that. It's great. All right, let's keep going. Get in touch with your boss. He's probably waiting for you, if only to scold you for the unattended files piling up on your desk. But what's he gonna do? Call the cops? Ugh, not worth the hassle. You're almost hoping the few coworkers that seem to give you a shit about you are faking it. That would make things easier. A fresh start from the ground up, just like old times. These thoughts put you in a weird mood. It's a strange sensation to walk the crowded streets, same as you have so many times before, but feeling so disconnected. All these people. You're not one of them. Not anymore. You're a vampire. Kindred. And you need to carve your own path in this strange new existence. One way or another. Appropriately enough, you arrive at Sophie's building just as that thought crosses your mind. A quick word from the security guard and you're let into the elevator. Apparently, Mrs. Langley is expecting you. Of course she is. You knock and wait patiently as the footsteps on the other side grow closer. Finally, the door opens and motherfucking Gregory! Sophie's driver, as if you needed to know that, invites you in. You find the lady herself standing by the window, silhouetted against the city's midnight glow. She stares out, motionless like a marble statue. Oh shit. Good evening, Sophie. She doesn't react immediately, but seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely bleary eyes. Yes, good evening, Velvet. I was wondering, when you look out at this city, when you see the lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think about? You gaze out. The lights and rain, the relentless honking below, music blasting from a nearby window, echoing off the buildings. Someone should record an hour of this and throw it up on YouTube as an ambient piece. Other than that, though, it's business as usual. The sights, the sounds, the smells, you know them all too well. Sophie watches you. You can tell she's disappointed somehow, but she covers it up with a courteous smile. Well, not everyone can appreciate the intricacies that the world offers. In fact, among kindred, my clan is somewhat notorious for finding innate meaning even in the mundane. You see, the blood that flows within me is of Clan Toreador. Oh, so I wonder what happened if I would have chose a Toreador. There are 13 such bloodlines among us kindred, though that number has been contested in the past, and these nights it seems that nothing is certain anymore. The clans have gone by many epithets over the years, but the names used these nights have their roots in medieval times, the original Inquisition, if you can believe it. The heckity heck are you streaming, Blue? I'm streaming freaking Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York, phone. It's a freaking fun game, and I'm a vampire, and it's great. It's like a Vampire the Masquerade visual novel. They use these to categorize us, despite our inherent differences. In time, we adopted them ourselves. Each clan has a uniqueness about it, inescapable, originating from an ancient progenitor, carried from sire to child. So it's a visual novel, you disgusting animal who reads books. Listen! How dare you! Fomal, you of all people fucking know me. You know this is what I do. How actual dare you? You of all people in this community know what I'm about. Stop reading. You're a himbo. You can't read books. What the hell is a himbo? For the Toreador, the gift lies in a sensitivity of sorts. We are uniquely attuned to the beauty and ugliness both. We can see either where most cannot. A blessing on most nights, occasionally a curse. A male bimbo. Ah. Well, I can't say I'm not. I can't say I'm not, but that doesn't mean I still can't take offense. I mean, FOMO, look. I've already got my I got my little thing from Phantom already on here. See, look at this. Look at that himbo right there. Hey girl, how you doing? You wanna chat? I'm a Toreador as well. Huh? Do you not like it when we're this close? What if I kissed you? Do. There we go. Got it back. If only you know blue is trash, so you're going to low-hanging fruit. Adding himbo to my vocabulary now. See, I told you you were a himbo. No one believes me these days. Here, I'll prove it. Give me 4. Oh, no. The sheriff is one of my clan as well. Really? Huh. Although you'd be hard-pressed to see him as such. Poor Kadir, it breaks my heart to see him in this state. Still, there is beauty to it as well. Nothing like a good fall from grace. Try she might to act playful, you can tell she genuinely cares. She lets her gaze wander for a brief moment, but is quick to regain her composure. Then there are the Ventru, known for their pride as a proclivity to rule over others. The prince represents that clan, and as is quite common in our society around the globe, where the blue bloods think themselves rulers, the Bruja like to see themselves as permanent revolutionaries. They call for universal rebellion while being slaves to their own temper. We don't discuss the rabble much anymore, not after they've largely broken off with the Camarilla. To think they were philosophers once, long ago. I hope to tell you more about some of the other bloodlines tonight. What's my clan? Do you know what my clan is? No, I can only guess it, based on certain aspects of your behavior and tastes. You will need to come to your own conclusion and seek validation from your clanmates, if you require such a thing. As you will no doubt learn, some kindred fit these stereotypes more than others. The brood is hard to deny, the blood, my bad, though there are certainly those who try. But that is perhaps subject for another time. I invited you here for a reason. There is something I wanted to speak to you about. It is customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes these are called by the prince themselves, or mandated by a fledgling sire. In our case, you may treat it as more of a strong recommendation. I want you to seek out companions not only because you need to learn more about our society, but also because it is useful. True friendships are rare among kindred, but having allies, even temporary ones, is something that of a necessity these nights. We might be selfish creatures, but we are drawn to each other nonetheless. Do you have your own coterie? So tell me, are you part of a coterie? Any close allies? I do have those that I trust enough to work with, yes. Not a coterie exactly, though I have joined several of those over the years. Not in over a century, though. You, however, you would do well to meet some of the city's younger kindred and see if you can find a connection. It's an essential experience for one so young. She puts on a mysterious smile. I spent some of my precious time last night asking around, pondering potential kindred for you to meet. Came up with a short list of contacts. I hope you'll appreciate the gesture. Forging a partnership with them might offer perspectives and viewpoints that I cannot provide, lenses through which to view our kind. They are all members of the Camarilla, of course, more or less. Okay, who are they? Eager to learn about them, I see. Good. I'm glad. So let us start with the Tremere. They are a powerful clan, disliked by many, but feared and respected by many more. They have been an important pillar of the Camarilla since the beginning. They are blood sorcerers. Blood sorcerers? You flash back to one of the nights when your ex would stay up late playing video games. not a pleasant connotation. Sophie snickers. Oh, child, do not be caught with that look on your face when you meet a warlock in person. They are really adept at using vitae, their own as well as others. Two unique and potent effects. Since they are quite rigid in their hierarchy, the kindred I had in mind for you might need some persuading. His name is Agathon. From what I hear, he is quite the scholar, very ambitious. He, the child of a noted Tremere here in New York, Eiling Sturbridge. Spent most of the time with Agathon. Enough time with Agathon, and I'm sure you'll run into her sooner or later. Blood magic intriguing. Scholar sounds boring. A chance to meet an important person, then blah! Blood magic. Intriguing. This whole blood magic thing sounds intriguing. I guess. Oh yes, fascinating. It is also a well-kept secret of the Tremere. Don't expect them to share it right away. Some things have to be earned. Anyway, if you wish to contact the young Tremere, I hear you can usually find him in a New Age bookstore out on Broadway. The Tremere have one of their workshops there. Gregory will give you the details. Motherfucking Gregory. Now, the next recommendation comes from a bit of a caveat. As you'll recall me saying, some bloodlines have unique features that might not be obvious at first glance. Well, there is one clan whose members wear their curse on their sleeve. They are fucking gross, is what I'm basically saying. The Nosferatu. The way she said it, you're pretty sure it should mean something to you other than sounding foreign. It doesn't ring any bells. No wonder they make their heavens and sewers, abandoned buildings and such. Their appearance is hideous and obviously unnatural. Had they walked the streets like other kindred, the kind would have learned of our existence long ago. That's a shudder that I did. Obviously a shudder. Shudder. Oh, fucking. Phone. FOMO, how actual dare you? Why are you calling me out like this? Give me a second. FOMO, why you gotta call me out like this? That's not fair. So guys, let's go ahead and see this really quick. There we go. So, as we can see by this amazing rendition, has no eyes, therefore cannot read. Expensive jewelry. He does have expensive jewelry. Midriff, no legs. Why you gotta call me out? Is it a midriff if I don't have any legs? Like, is that still a midriff at that point? Listen, I've just yet to retrieve my legs, okay? I had other things on my mind. I've yet to retrieve them from my box. It's fine. It's perfect. FOMO, you should put that in the stream chat. The stream vid discussion stream chat thingy above the Pokemon Breakthrough chat. You should throw it there. Did she just shudder? It's hard to tell with her usual complexion, but you could swear her skin suddenly took an even more sickly color. The one I have in mind isn't as big an eyesore as the worst of them, but he's no Adonis either. Still, he has some talents and connections that you might find useful. His name is D'Angelo. Oh my god. D'Angelo. I actually have a character that I may or may not be playing one day with D'Angelo as his last name, so that's funny. Carter D'Angelo. But let's not fucking worry about that right now. He has an office, for lack of a better term, in the otherwise abandoned grain terminal in the Red Hook, right next to one of those Swedish stores. The name escapes me. The ones with the awful furniture. What, IKEA? The office? What connections does he have? What, IKEA? Swedish furniture store? You mean IKEA? Yes, that's it. My mind struggles to retain things that are aesthetically displeasing. D'Angelo does odd jobs for Kadir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who would prefer to remain hidden, the kind of work the Nosferatu are best at. He's on a case right now, something to do with kind murders, I think. After your initial brush with our dear sheriff, I think it would be wise to show some goodwill towards his agenda. Assisting D'Angelo with his investigation might just be the thing. She takes a brief pause to look out the window again. Now come two more exotic proposals. Exotic? As if the blood mage and the vampire detective were business as usual. You may have heard about the Gangrel before. They are a wild clan, in touch with their beast in a way others might not dare to attempt. They mostly keep out of big cities, but there are exceptions. Nominally, they haven't been a part of the Camarilla for over 2 decades, but one of the kindred I would like you to meet has a strong, shall we say, familial ties to the sect. Her name is Tamika. Her sire, Jezebel, was instrumental during the Battle of New York back in 1999, the very same battle that cemented the city as a Camarilla domain. Sadly, her achievements have gone largely unrecognized. Tamika and a number of her siblings will reside in the domain they were awarded after the battle, Prospect Park. Jezebel herself left the city some years ago, fed up with being underappreciated. Should I contact non-Camarilla clans? I got the impression contacting vampires who weren't with the Camarilla was frowned upon, but you're saying these gangrel aren't part of any sect anymore. How does that work? It's not as clear-cut. The gangrel as a whole have sworn off the Camarilla, but individual kindred of that clan can still hold our ideals. Jezebel was one of them before she became jaded. Besides, their domain in Prospect Park has been upheld by Prince Panhard for all these years, has it not? We consider them members of the sect, and they have, for the most part, kept to themselves. Perhaps it will take a young kindred such as yourself to make them realize where their loyalties lie. So you see, seeking out Tamika could provide quite educational, if nothing else, and who knows, perhaps you will find her temperament to be a welcome change of pace. But speaking of a change of pace, I have one last suggestion for you, though it's one I don't make lightly. The kindred who calls herself Hope. She's a Malkavian. Ooh. They are a uniquely cursed clan. For centuries, we've considered them mad, insane, unhinged. But those of us who spend enough time with them come to understand the truth. They the crazy people. It is no sickness, but a unique perception of the world that has them appear to us as unstable, and that perception can prove to be very valuable. Having a Malkavian as your companion might be taxing on the nerves and a true test of patience at times, but their insight and intuition are unrivaled among kindred. As for Hope specifically, she is said to be a recluse, but I have it on good authority that she can be currently found at an internet cafe, I believe it's called, in Lower Manhattan. Motherfucking Gregory has the address. Doesn't sound like my type. Internet cafe, quaint. Where did you learn about Hope? And where did you learn about her exactly? One of my colleagues told me about her. He considers her uniquely talented and tapped into the current fads among kind. Not something I am personally interested in, as I'm sure you know by now. I take his word for it, at any rate. Well, I believe that's all of them. I have a few social calls to make tonight, so I'll leave you to it. Use tonight and tomorrow night to arrange some cordial visits of your own. I will send motherfucking Gregory for you as soon as I have further need of your services. Oh, that reminds me, you will need a car. Join us downstairs, won't you? She smiles once more and turns to her driver. He helps put on her coat, and the three of you leave Sophie's apartment. Sophie points to one of the cars near the building as Gregory hands you the keys. It's a rather inconspicuous compact car, a decent-looking, if not luxurious, ride. Stay safe, Velvet. This is your first night alone. Don't let it be your last. As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you've had in your past few nights. A blessing or a burden? Time will tell. With a list of addresses in hand, you consider your next move. Ooh. We can kind of see them a little bit. Vampire Clan and Blood Sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction into a bizarre powers of the Tremere. Sophie says you meet Hope, a reclusive member of the Malkavian clan, supposedly holed up at an internet cafe in Lower Manhattan. That is not what I thought Hope would look like. Gumshoe in the dark. Recent string of killings have the Red Hook district of Brooklyn on edge. Sophie mentioned that Kadir Asmala has a secret associate living in the murders. Nosferatu neonate by the name of D'Angelo. If you help him out, he might be persuaded to form a lasting partnership. And Jezebel. Gangrel neonate by the name of Tamika, who has made herself a haven in Prospect Park. The Ferals aren't exactly a social bunch, even by kindred standards, but if you keep her from clawing her eyes out, your eyes out just long enough, she might be persuaded to join you. So we can try to talk with the Tremere, the Malkavian, the Nosferatu, or the Gangrel. I'm personally interested in the Gangrel, but Eggie's saying Malkavian. What do you guys think? Is there anybody else in there that wanna bring up people to go to? You're fine with any? Metatom48 subscribed on YouTube. So I guess thanks for that, Metatom88. To be honest, this seems like a good place to stop the YouTube side of things. Not the stream. We're gonna keep going on the stream. But this does seem like a good place to stop the YouTube the side of things. Let's go ahead and get ready to make a small stream marker. I hope everybody on the YouTube side of things are very happy with what's going on so far. We're going to do one more of these tonight, go on for another hour and a half, and see how things go. All three of these parts should be put up pretty soon after I stream them. I'm not sure exactly when, but hope you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, guys, like always, later days.